What's up, everybody? We are back here with the Red Glare podcast. Yes, throw up the H's. Uh, we need all the help we can get. I am Alec Miller. You can find me on Twitter at Alec Miller 0423. I need to change that name, which I'll do right now. It's Alec Miller 0423. There you can find me having some pretty cool conversations with different people and going back and forth with some guys, which is awesome. So if you want to go back and forth with me there, leave your thoughts. Go to Alec Miller 0423. And as always, I'm joined by my main man, Paul. What is up, brother?
What's up, bro? Yeah, I updated my name too at Podcast Paul. You can catch me there. Yeah, man. Um, I'm on the Twitterverse just like Alec, always keeping up with some fan reactions, Texas sports as
Absolutely.
well, and some business things. So get at me. Let's talk some more. But how are you doing, bro? I think as Houston fans, we kind of need to check in with each other, make sure everyone's in
Yeah,
good spirits.
yeah, man. It was a good weekend, you know. It was not good for the Astros or the Rockets,
Yeah,
but it was a good weekend for me. I got to enjoy a live band for the first time since COVID,
nice.
which was awesome. We went to go see Blue October. That's always
Okay.
fun. That's always fun to watch them play. We go every time they come to Houston. So that was awesome. It was a cool little experience getting back out there. It felt like I was literally like I didn't even. I had like two beers really, and we got in the car and I was just like pumped. Like it just felt good to see like live music again.
Yeah, man. That's awesome, bro. Yeah,
What about you, man?
it's been a good weekend for me too. It was a good weekend for me. Some tough losses. I mean, the Astros, but also as a Texas Longhorn fan, this is probably the roughest it's been in
Yeah.
10 years. So, yeah, man, all my teams are kind of losing right now. But there's losing sucks, but it also adds a layer of drama and a little bit of entertainment for the average sports fan. So for example, in Texas sports, I'm hearing like a player was arguing with the Texas head coach and might be released, and then I'm hearing an assistant coach had a monkey who bit a kid on
Oh,
Halloween, and it's
Jesus.
just complete disarray, and I'm there for it. I'm enjoying it, even though things aren't looking great on the field.
Yeah, man. The funny thing is though that when things are not going well, it's a lot easier to kind of take a step back and just enjoy
Yeah,
sports in general. Like then you're not
absolutely.
watching it. You're not watching it because you're a team's fan. You're watching it like it's just sports. I love sports, so it's easy to do that whenever your team is not good.
Yeah, man, it's funny. I traveled a couple months back, and I was on the plane, and there was like a grandpa and I guess his granddaughter, and he was like, so you still rooting for the Vikings? Like he was like a Viking, like he had a Vikings cap and stuff.
Yeah,
She's like, Grandpa, I don't root for any particular team. I just like the sport.
yeah. There you go.
And this girl was like some teenager, man. I just thought her
love
answer
it.
was so ahead of her time. I loved it.
Love to see that. Yeah, man. My girl has come in multiple times and said, "Oh, who's playing? I don't know, just some teams." She's like, well, "Who are you going for?" Nobody. I'm just watching. Just
Yeah,
watching the sport, and it's fun to watch. So,
yeah, man.
yeah, that's definitely it's a lot easier to do that when your team is bad because then you're not like super focused on them. Like when the Rockets went, were number one in the conference, and I was like, man, all I cared about was Rockets. I didn't care about anything else that was going on. It
Yeah,
was all
yeah.
Rockets. But here we can just kind of branch out. And with that being said, let's talk about the disappointing loss that we just had this past week. The Houston Astros were defeated by the Atlanta Braves in 6 games in the World Series, and man, it was tough. It was definitely tough. Um, really bad first game, great second game. We lost
Yeah.
two in a row. Uh, lost game 3 and game 4. Had that game 5 in Atlanta. And we played amazing on Sunday. And you would think us coming back to Houston, things were gonna be like the momentum was gonna sway our way, man. And
Right.
that's not how it went. It was actually a very disappointing game 7. It was
Yeah.
like just like a little like, uh, well, that's the end of the season. Didn't fight back. I was extremely disappointed in all our players, all our hitters. Jordan Alvarez, this man that I love. Um, in the series against the Boston Red Sox, I was literally tweeting about how this guy is
I remember.
a future MVP, and I thought that the World Series was going to be the perfect like platform for him to prove that, and it completely was just gone. I think he batted 100 the entire World Series, man. And
Right.
it's sad to see like us go down like that. Where I thought the biggest problem was going to be our pitching. I thought that we were going to have
Same.
a like
Same.
crazy like 12 to 11 games, like 12 and 11 run games, and the pitching's actually what held up in this series. I feel like to a degree, obviously, like it wasn't
Yeah,
perfect, but if we had the run support that we've come to like expect from the Astros, we could have made this a very interesting series. And it's just disappointing when you know that your team is better than that and they don't show it.
for sure, bro. I think that was well said. For me, like it's a thrill to get back to the World Series, man. Like
Yeah.
in the championship series, I was a bit concerned because of McCullers going down, and yeah, man, it just left me with some question marks then. But once the bats got going and we flipped the switch, I was like, okay, the Astros are back. We have the momentum going into the World Series. We're hot at the right time. But yeah, ultimately, like we fell flat, man. And I think there's a lot of different ways you can go with it. Like it's hard to pinpoint exactly what's the cause of losing the series. I think pitching, it would have been nice to have McCullers there. It would have been nice in a
Mm-hmm.
dream world to have Verlander there, but they didn't. But like you said, I think the pitchers did a fairly well job aside from like last night. Even what was it, game 4 or 5 was like 1-0
It
up
was
in
3-2 on Saturday. Like
yeah on
it was a
Saturday,
very
and
close game.
I think most of it was like 1-0 at one point. So yeah, I mean, I think the pitching was fine, but for me, like just watching it, I didn't see enough like consistency in the lineup. It just seemed like when Altuve couldn't get it going, the rest of the team struggled. I don't know what that was about, man. And I mean, to be honest, like I was a bit disappointed in some of the vets, like Gurriel and Bregman. They did get a couple hits and they made plays, but they kept showing that stat on TV: Correa, Altuve, Bregman, Gurriel playing together, breaking records and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah, and they weren't even
I just
including
expected
Jordan.
more.
Yeah, and they
Yeah,
weren't even
that
including Jordan. Like if they would have
right.
included Jordan, it would have looked even worse on that graphic. Because especially considering what he did in that series before, like
Yeah, bro.
it's
I
upsetting.
just with Dusty, like I think he shook the lineup up, but I think he should have been more aggressive with it. It
Mm-hmm.
seemed like he was more reactive than proactive about the lineup. When things weren't
Right.
going, only then did he make a change. And like, I kind of wish he put more veteran. Like, for example, I kind of wish we could have saw something like a Jordan, a Bregman, or a Gurriel, and then a Kyle Tucker. Just kind of putting like young and old, kind of mixing it up. I think that would have been good for them, man. Like to
Yeah.
depend on each other in a different way. But that's neither here or there. At the end of the day, I guess like the bigger question is Correa. Like what's going to happen with that?
Yeah.
And can we get back there again? Are
Yeah.
we good enough to win it? Right? We know we could get back there, but are we good enough to win again?
Yeah, man, and that's the big question right now because, like I said, the pitching wasn't perfect, but the pitching was a lot better than I expected. My expectations were extremely low when it came to the pitching in this
Yeah.
upcoming series. So seeing what they did and having pretty decent success against this team, and this Atlanta Braves team is great. Like the fact
Yeah.
that they were this good and they didn't have Acuna, like they're gonna have Acuna next year, and we'll see if they
Exactly.
pay Freddie Freeman. But Jorge Soler, Eddie Rosario, excuse me, Austin Riley, like what they have a great lineup. So the pitching, I think, did pretty well for who they were facing off against. So the future's bright. I'm looking forward to seeing these pitchers next year. I'm not sure who's up. I think Greinke is up in contract, which I think that there's pretty big possibility he'll end up leaving. But the big question mark is Correa. Like, can we get him to stay? Are we willing to give him the money?
Yeah.
And like I don't know the numbers right now that he's asking for, but I can only assume it's a long term, like final contract type deal. And at this
Right.
point, I'm kind of willing to do it. I think he's 27. Like,
Yeah.
he's young. A lot of these like long term contracts, they happen at the end of guys' careers. But I
Right.
feel like Carlos Correa is probably like in his prime, or he's very close to his prime. Like, he hasn't even hit his prime yet, and I think that
Yeah.
bringing him back and allowing him to hit that prime when he's here in Houston would be the best thing to do. If not, I mean, there's some decent shortstops available this year. We can get any of them, but to me, just I would rather every time he was up on the screen, man, I was like, pay this man. Can we just pay this man?
Yeah. Yeah, bro. Like I'm with you. I think he should be paid as well. I want us to re-sign him. Like him and Altuve, bro. Like they really do remind me of like a Curry, Klay Thompson. They didn't convert on as many championships, but they've been in as many championships. It seems like, and they're always, they just fuel each other, man. And I think if you're the Astros, you also can't overlook how good he is on defense, bro. Like
Mm-hmm.
the guy has like top tier defense, man. Like just perfect throws every play in rhythm. I love watching him field, bro. Like I love like maybe some people aren't into that side of baseball, but I love the defensive side. So I really hope to bring him back, man. I think the Astros, if anything, have maybe like screwed themselves a bit more by like re-signing other guys instead. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
now we're seeing like how much Bregman struggled. I mean, Yuli was the batting champ, but he did struggle in the playoffs, and he is older now. So to me, those are like bigger question marks than re-signing Correa, which I think should be more of a no-brainer. But since we spent that money, I mean, that's kind of what we're dealing with now.
Yeah, man. See, I mean, you gotta hope that the fact that the World Series was here, that hopefully we'll have a little bit extra money to spend. Um, the one that I was always like kind of confused with was the McCullers deal, because
Mm-hmm.
he still hasn't shown that he can be healthy through an entire season,
Yes,
and he literally
exactly.
he finally got through the season, and then went down right before the ALCS. Like that I think it was like 5 year deal too. Like, I just didn't see why we needed to sign him at that time when we need to sign Correa right now, man. Like, Correa is the guy to bring in that we need to keep good. And like, I always think about like, man, if this guy wouldn't have gotten hurt, like, in so long, like in so many years of his career, I feel like he would be the guy that we talk about as like the face of the Astros. I mean, yeah, the face of the Astros, because
Right.
but because of all the injuries and all the other stuff, Altuve is kind of the face of this team. But I really feel like
Yeah.
he could have possibly been the face of this team, and we wouldn't even be talking about like, oh, should they re-sign him or not? Like, if he would have just stayed healthy, it would have been a no-brainer. Like, yes, give him the big deal, but it was just that
Yeah,
injury.
bro.
But with him showing that he could stay healthy, that's why I'm like way more comfortable giving him the contract. But I love Correa, man. Like you said, his defense is top notch. He's got that it factor, I think. I love hearing him talk. Like, I love what he does with his kind of like cockiness, his
Mm-hmm.
swagger. I like what he does with that, and he's not like a sore loser. So like whenever I don't know if you saw after he did the times. What time is it to one of the Boston Red Sox pitchers?
Yeah.
I think it was Gonzalez. He said that he did his, and after he struck out Correa, and they asked Correa, "What did you think of him doing that to you?" And he was just like, "I love it. Like, that's awesome. Like, he
Yeah,
should
bro.
do it to me." And that, like, I'm a big like advocate for fun in sports. Like,
Absolutely.
guys should have fun in sports. If you hit a monster home run, flip the hell out of the bat. Like,
Yeah.
do all that stuff. If you strike out a dude that's been talking all this trash, do some gestures to him. Like, it's not a big deal. And to see him be that, like, show basically be like an advocate for that too, and at the same time like understanding like if I can dish it out, I got to be able to take it. Like I love that, man, and that's to me that's like what people want to see. Those are like comments that get shared around, like things like talking about that, and I don't know. I really hope he stays, man. I really hope this wasn't the last time we see him in an Astros jersey.
Yeah, completely agree, bro.
But anyways, congrats to the Atlanta Braves. I have a
Congrats.
saying: anyone but the Dodgers. Like I felt the same way about the Nationals loss. I was just like, if I wasn't in the World Series, I would be cheering for the Nationals, and the same thing is said for this World Series. If we weren't playing the Braves, and it was Braves versus Red Sox, I would want the Braves to win because that's a great story. Like they had such a
Yeah,
big
absolutely.
injury. Ronald Acuna going down early. You had they struggled towards the end of the year where I think they had the worst record of all the playoff teams, and
Hmm.
they went all the way, man. Like that's why we watch sports for these kind of stories, and so congrats to the Atlanta Braves, and we'll
Congrats.
see
They deserved
everybody.
it.
Yeah, we'll see everybody next year, man. Like that's all I
Yeah,
can say.
yeah, yeah. Well said, bro.
Now, for a team, unfortunately, this next team we gotta talk about, their season is not over. It's probably about halfway over now, I guess. And that's the Houston Texans.
It
Not
feels
looking
never
good.
ending.
It does. It really does. But the Texans had a really big loss to the Rams. I know the score isn't as bad as these other games, but I mean it's garbage time.
Yeah, exactly.
The Rams like were already killing it, and I was like looking forward to it because I had. Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you, Robert. I'm trying to. I gotta fix my mic. My mic has been messing up lately, so I'll try to speak a little louder. But yeah, the Texans. Even though like it was a lot closer in the score, it was never actually close in the game. Uh, Rams were dominant over the Texans, and like I said, those last touchdowns were all were garbage time, so it didn't really matter. Team doesn't look good. Team looks pretty bad, and with the trade deadline that just passed, we were all expecting like, hey, maybe we'll finally get a resolution to this whole Deshaun Watson thing and just be done with it, which is what I've been hoping for. Unfortunately, he did not get
Nope.
traded. I want to ask you your thoughts on when the trade deadline passed and you never saw that notification saying that Deshaun Watson was traded. That was traded. What did you think?
Well, bro, I mean, I think with the Texans is like we keep being worse than we were the day before,
Yes,
and
absolutely.
it's like you think it can't get worse, and it does, and like I just Deshaun not being traded is just like the cherry on top of feeling like that, and I don't know, man. I guess we'll wait till the off season.
We
I guess if you're a player on that team,
we
Edgar,
agree,
fuck
Edgar.
Deshaun. Yeah,
We
exactly.
agree.
I mean, if you're a player on that team, like, come on, bro. Like,
You have to be done.
you know that the GM, the coach, everybody's putting the towel in on that season. So why should you care about anything that happens? Because no one else does, man. The only people that care are the fans. Unfortunately,
Yeah.
everyone else doesn't.
Yeah, and that's a great point that you make about us being worse every week. It seems like, is because after those first two games, like there was like a little bit of hope, right? Like there was just like that little hope.
Yeah,
We beat the Jaguars like handedly. It wasn't even close, and we played pretty well against the Browns until Tyrod went down. And I remember the one thing I thought was we're not going to be an easy out for any team. And then
yeah,
in the preceding weeks, we turned out to be a very easy out. The closest game I think, and probably our best played game besides Jacksonville, in that first half of the Browns game, was the game against the
the
Patriots. Like
Patriots.
I
Yeah,
felt like we should have won that game, man, and that was like Davis Mills' kind of like his coming out party, and then I don't know his offensive line has really failed him this year to the point where I can't even tell. I'm not even able to confidently critique Davis Mills because the dude has no time.
yeah,
Every time he snaps the ball, he's immediately got guys in his face, and he's not allowing being giving them the amount of time to step up and make a play because he has no protection. Stupid penalties. You'll see things like a nice first down run being brought back because of a holding call. A good defensive stop brought back on neutral zone infraction or something. Like it just started getting annoying, and I just feel like this
Yeah.
whole team hasn't even given David Culley like a chance. Like I know some people will be like,
Yep.
"You'll trash David Culley," but I really feel like if Tyrod was in, he would have a much easier time. But it's just not. It's not looking good. That first week, dude. The first 2 weeks of play calling on the offensive side were so like a breath of fresh air for Texans fans because they were creative calls. It wasn't a run every first down. It was like a lot different. It's just a lot more diverse. And then Tyrod goes down. I think that shrunk their playbook. And now Tim Kelly's like he's like reverting back to being with Bill O'Brien, and
Yeah.
that's not good.
Yeah, it's like this, vicious cycle. I see it with the Texas Longhorns too. It's like the O line is trash, right? So then people say, well, it's the talent on the O line, But as time moves on, they're continuing to fail. So is it the coaches? Is it the talent? Is it the play calling? It's all these question marks. But at some point, you have to just find like a will to win. And I mean, for the Texans, 7 straight losses. The easiest games they have left on their schedule are the Jets and the Jaguars. I think all the rest of the teams, maybe Dolphins, but the rest of the teams are looking like a loss. So, I think you're kind of looking at like a 2 or 3 win season.
Yeah.
If you're being optimistic, you still got Deshaun, unfortunately. Maybe you get a high draft pick, but that's definitely not even going to change the trajectory of the franchise unless you clean a lot of these holes up.
So let's discuss Deshaun right now. So Deshaun, he has a no trade clause in his contract. He has stated that he only wants to go to the Dolphins.
Yeah.
He will not accept a trade to the Panthers because the Panthers apparently offered like 4 or 5 first rounders and a player, and because he only wants to go to Miami, he refused to drop the no trade clause. Uh, Apparently, Miami said that they needed to see. He had to at least 1 second, buddy. Hold on, give me a minute.
Yeah, you good, man. Yeah, bro. I mean, I think Deshaun, like, I just want to get rid of him. Like I don't know how y'all feel if you're listening in the comments. I know how Edgar feels, but I just want him off the team. And like, yeah, you don't want to trade him for a bag of chips, but like if I'm negotiating with the Dolphins and they're offering me like 2 firsts and they're offering me Tua, I probably would just take it, man. Like, yeah, I would love 5 first round picks, but at some point, you got to move on, man. Like,
Yeah.
the guy's clearly not going to play here again.
So here's like the whole like gymnastics that was going on with this. I saw from a couple of reporters mention like saying what was said. It said that the Texans were asking for 3 firsts. The the Texans were asking for 3 firsts. They were only willing to go to 3 if Deshaun was willing to settle. I think like at least 8 of his cases. He had to
Okay.
settle at 8 or 10, something like that. And Deshaun was not willing to do that. He said that he is going to fight this until he can't no more, which is his right as an American citizen. And so the Dolphins said they were only willing to offer 2 first rounders, and Nick Casario said no. Like, basically, you're not going to lowball us. Like, we're going to get what we need from him. And I think what he's banking on is the Dolphins completely losing out the rest of the season, and
Yeah.
possibly being in like panic, desperate mode, because they were my sleepers at the end of the season, in the beginning of the season. They were my
Hmm.
sleepers to make the playoffs, and they have completely regressed on both facets of the ball. Brian Flores
Yep.
is on the hot seat now, and he's one of my he was one of my favorite coaches at the time, and I love what he was doing there, and now it seems like his team has completely given up on him. So I think they're counting on that and hoping that they'll finally sell high or buy high. It's just
Yeah,
When
I
I
mean,
heard the rumor of two, I wasn't willing to take that, and I understand why some analysts and some fans were kind of upset that they didn't take the two first. But I genuinely believe that if those same people would say, if we took the two first, they would be like, oh well, y'all could have gotten three. Why did y'all settle for two? Like, it wouldn't have mattered. Those people are gonna get
yeah,
upset either way. I
for
feel
sure.
like Casares doing the right thing. He's not allowing us to look even more like a joke than we already are, and I'm perfectly okay with holding him until the off season, preferably draft day, when when the Dolphins are gonna be completely desperate, and just you know, when people ask about Deshaun, if I'm the Texans, I'm just like, next question. Like, I'm here to talk about the team. He's not here with the team, so why should I answer questions about him? And that's how I feel about the whole thing.
Yeah, man. I think that's well said. Maybe let's get in
Yep.
some of these comments here.
So we'll go to Robert. Robert said a bag of chips may do more for you at this point in time. You're not. You're probably not wrong. You're probably not wrong.
And they'll
Uh,
taste good.
yes. And then Edgar said Dolphins know Deshaun wants to be there only, and no, they don't. They don't have to give Texans everything they want. Now, I'll preface that with now. I think that if the Dolphins are in panic mode at the end of the season, because like I said, I from what I've heard from my brother-in-law, who's like very in Dolphins like news, is that the owner has already had it with Brian Flores. Like, he wants to be competing next year, and that's why they're willing to make this move for Deshaun, even though there's not any definitive proof that he'll play next year. But they're willing to give up at least they were willing to give up, I think, three first round draft picks if Deshaun would have settled, and that's a lot for a team to give up without any proof that he'll play. So yeah,
Yeah, I feel like Deshaun's lawyer has to be telling him, dude, like you're gonna get past this, and you
yeah,
know. But it's just like he could have settled a long time ago. Probably done like a 2 game suspension and been back ready to play by now.
yeah, because I'm not gonna downplay at all what he's done. Like, he's a gross human being. Like, there's people that he could call for what he got in trouble for. That's the
Yeah,
thing, is, like, the
I
thing
heard
that
some
he
of them on
did.
the radio, bro. It sounded disgusting.
Yeah, like, he could have called women. Like, there's services for what he did, really.
Yeah,
Like, if you want to be a pervert, there are ways to go about that, and he just didn't go about it the right way. And just he will get like a maybe 6 games if he settles. I think he'll get like at the most he'll get 6 games. He won't get that many. He will be back eventually. I don't want him anywhere near my team, and I know
yeah,
there's teams out there that won't want him near the team. But we know how this game is, how sports are. All you gotta do is start playing well. I'm not saying it's right,
yeah.
but I mean that's just reality. It he would be back eventually, and like I mean, look at Michael Vick, man. Like, Michael Vick killed dogs,
And went to prison and
went to
came back.
prison, and still came back, and is working for Fox Sports.
Yeah, man.
Like, it's
Redemption.
wild. It's possible. So if you're thinking he'll never play again, he will. But should he? That's a whole different story. I wouldn't want him anywhere near my franchise, at least.
Yeah.
Especially not the massage therapist.
Yeah.
He's
Stay
got a
away from the physical therapy room,
yes. Don't go
Deshaun.
there. All right. Let's talk NBA. There's
All
some
right.
craziness going on in the NBA over there in Beantown.
Mm-hmm.
Marcus Smart decided that he was the veteran of the team,
Yeah.
and would say that he has to teach Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown how to play the game, how to
Right.
pass, basically. He basically,
Yeah.
it sounded like he was saying, I'm not getting enough touches, but I don't think you're the guy that needs the most touches, Marcus Smart, on that team.
So yeah, I'll just say a sentence he put. They don't want to pass the ball, and that's something they're going to learn. They're still learning, and we're proud of the progress they are making. but they're going to have to make another step and find ways to not only create for themselves but create for others on this team.
Now, if you would have read this to me and said like, guess what player said this, I would have said like Al Horford, right? Al Horford
Yeah.
said this. A guy who's been here for
Kyrie.
years. Yes. But no, this was said by
Marcus Smart.
27-year-old Marcus Smart, 27, and Jaylen Brown is 25.
Yeah.
like if I'm Jaylen Brown, I'm like, dude, who are you? like what? Do you know
Yeah,
who you're
it's like how
talking to?
LeBron's always like, "Oh, the guy's beneath me," and stuff. It's like,
Yeah.
bro, who are you talking about beneath you?
Like
Uh,
it's just
Look,
not great. And then I think the report was that they had a players only meeting today that was very emotional to talk about Marcus Smart's comments. My guess is they're gonna get out unscathed. I think that they'll be able to move past it, but you might see a few times that Marcus Smart is open, and he might not get the ball.
yeah. I mean, bro, personally, like, I've never been a Marcus Smart fan.
No,
I
me
don't know if
neither.
that's because like he played at Oklahoma State or in their rival, but I think it's beyond that, bro. Like personally, I just always felt that he was overrated on that team. In a lot of ways, I think he's held them back. I think
Mm-hmm.
if you found somebody else, because Marcus Smart kind of has this point guard, 6 man energy type of role, almost like a
Mm-hmm.
like kind of like Jason Terry was for the Mavs, but more defensively.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, bro, like he's I'm not gonna say he's a bad player, but when you have Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, if you're gonna make them like if you're gonna add a third star, you can't put Marcus Smart in that conversation, in my opinion. So yeah, great defense. It'll stop people from time to time, but I'd rather see like a more versatile player, both with the salary cap and taking those minutes. I really think it could take the Boston Celtics over the next level. And what do we see year in and year out with the Boston Celtics? They always make the playoffs. They're usually bounced in that second round. They made the conference finals that one year when they were young, but that's it. And for Marcus Smart to just come out and basically say like these guys don't know how to pass. I mean, bro, they've been in the league a long time, and not to mention, with all due respect, you're just Marcus Smart. Like you're not known for knocking down shots, man.
Yeah.
You can't like call out your best shooters to pass the ball when you can't shoot.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's where I have a problem with it. This would be way different if like Jaylen Brown was saying that about Jason Tatum. He might have some leverage, but with Marcus Smart, bro, like know your role, play some defense, and pass the ball to Jason Tatum.
Yeah, my
My
biggest takeaway.
opinion.
And my biggest takeaway is you're not that guy, Marcus Smart. You're not that guy.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. Trust me, pal.
yeah,
Have you
trust
seen
me,
that?
pal.
Have you seen that video? You're
Yes,
not that
that's where I
guy.
got that from. You're not that guy. Like, that's not you, man. You're not supposed to make these comments. And
Yeah,
like, I'm not one of those guys that's like, oh, if you're not the best player, you can't like, you can't speak up. You can't,
yeah. Be a leader.
yeah, you can't be a leader.
I get you.
Especially like in terms of like showing off. I always hear like people saying like, "Oh, you're a rookie, you can't show off." I am a rookie, and I'm gonna show off. Like,
Yeah,
there's no like
I
requirement.
think I will.
Yeah, there's no requirement on like showing off, but this is not a constructive criticism. I don't think like of like for Marcus Smart to be putting out there. That is not like the team's not doing well right now, but it's mostly because Jason Tatum just hasn't like gotten hot yet. He's still been a little cold these past couple games.
Yeah,
The team's got a new head coach. Like it's gonna take there's some growing pains that you have to go through. It's very early in the season, and to be making this comment already, like it's just like it's putting a very big target on your back when you don't need one. Like you could have just been the guy who, because Marcus Smart is very important to this team. I don't think he's just a scrub. He's not nobody. But like these aren't the comments that we want coming from you because you're not the vocal leader of this team. Like you said,
yeah,
if this was like Jaylen Brown saying this, then you're like, okay, let's listen. Or Jason Tatum, let's listen. But you're not the vocal leader, Marcus Smart. So why are you saying this? And I'm very interested to see
yeah.
if there's
Or
any comments that come out. I mean, any quotes that come out of this uh, out of this meeting. Edgar Smart, that was not a smart move. I see what you did there. As a dad, as dads, I think we both appreciate that.
Yeah, that was a good one.
I
I
definitely
mean,
appreciate
like,
that
and
strategy.
it's a good point too. Like, if you're gonna say it, just say it in the team meeting. Like,
Yes.
you know what I'm saying? If we're hooping with some friends and you're not passing me the ball, I'm gonna just tell you in like a timeout or something. I'm not gonna after the game
Talk
get on
shit, you know.
Twitter. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? What's
Man,
the point of that? Like,
Alec wouldn't pass the ball at all today.
yeah,
Like, and then that's how I find out about it, you know.
yeah, man. Like Ice Cube says, you better check yourself before you wreck yourself. Marcus
Yeah,
Smart. It's
man.
a long season, bro.
Yeah, you're not that guy, pal.
Trust me, you're not that guy.
Oh man, it's okay.
Oh,
It's perfect.
classic.
All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at the standings, man. Since we're talking about a team that we were surprised is not very high in the standings,
Yeah.
and Marcus Smart says that it's for certain reasons, and I don't know if that's the reason, but we'll take him at his word. I mean, he's Marcus Smart, you know.
Yeah.
All right, so in first place, let's just look at these. Like, first place the Heat, second place Bulls, third place Knicks, and 76ers at fourth, fifth Wizards, Raptors 6, Hornets 7, and the Nets at 8. Dude, what is your biggest surprise? Or, let's go with your first biggest, like, no duh, like you expected this.
Well, in a lot of ways, like I expected the Heat to be this good because honestly, last year I thought they would be a top four team,
Mhm.
but they struggled, and then in the offseason they got better with Lowry. Um, I I expected them to be like a top team in the East. I thought the Bucks would be right next to them, but
Mhm.
they're not. They're in the 10 seed, but to their credit, man, they just won a championship. They are allowed to have a championship hangover, in my opinion. I mean, it's the last time Milwaukee won a ring. Giannis could do what he wants. So, yeah, I mean, to me, the Heat's the no brainer. The biggest surprise has got to be the Bulls. Like, I knew they were gonna be good or a lot better, but I mean, second place, that's impressive. And then I guess like the biggest surprise for me would, you know, it's it's the Nets. I mean, and the reason I say it is just because like I didn't expect the Nets to be like at full force, but I thought they were going to be a title contender. And right now, I think they're even close to that because Kyrie with the issues of not wanting to take the vaccine and like not really active with the team and playing, and then you got Harden who's like not 100% and kind of I don't exactly know where his attitude or mindset is. In personal conversations, I'm pretty critical of Harden, but
Yeah.
I just it's still a surprise to me that it's in a state of disarray this quick.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
we're barely in year 2. I mean, it hasn't even been a full year since Harden's been there, and like the Nets look like they're falling off the map.
Yeah.
So that those are probably my overreactions. Starting off.
All right. Yeah, my first no duh is probably gonna be like you said, the Heat. Um, Bringing in Kyle Lowry was I think, a really great move by them, and able to keep the guys there that they've kept so far. Obviously, someone's eventually gonna have to go, but I think
Yeah.
they're playing really great basketball. Eric Spoelstra continues to prove why he's the best coach in the league. At this point, I will say even over Popovich at the moment. Obviously,
Yeah, I
that's
think so.
all time, but
Yeah.
currently, I think Eric Spoelstra is the best coach in the league right now. My biggest
Coach of the year.
surprise, actually, and I didn't even have this until like I'm looking at it now. The Toronto Raptors, like 5-3, they were bottom of the heap last year. Like they got I think they got the fifth round, the number 5 pick this year.
Yeah.
Or was it the 3?
No, it was 3 because
Yeah,
everyone thought they were gonna take Suggs.
yeah, they took Barnes. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, man, I didn't expect them to be as good as they are right now. They're 5-3. Like that's a great record right now. And the reason why like people like teams like the Bucks and the Hawks are as low as they are is because just it's very close in terms of record. Like
Yeah.
the eighth seed Nets and the ninth seed Hawks are 4-3. Underneath them, the Bucks at the 10th seed. Like it's not like everyone's like super far out of the rankings, so this is going to change throughout the
Yeah,
year.
for sure, for sure.
But it's just interesting to see the Raptors as high as they are right now, playing as good as they are. I think the coach right now is Nick Nurse, right? That's who they have
Yeah,
over there.
Nick Nurse
Yeah.
on the Raptors.
So and he's doing a great job right there so far. So good stuff by the Raptors. Like I said, I think these are going to change drastically in the coming
Yeah,
future. But as of now, congrats to the Heat and the Raptors, man. Some good stuff. Let's
yeah,
look at
yeah.
the Western Conference. Western Conference, we have the 1 seed Jazz, second seed Warriors.
hmm
Then you have the Lakers at 3, Grizzlies at 4, Mavs at 5, Nuggets at 6, Timberwolves at 7, and Suns at 8. With the Kings and the Trailblazers, and unlike the other one, this is a much different standings where you have the 500 team being the 8th seed.
Right.
It's just not a lot of surprises for me on this side, and I think my biggest surprise is probably the Suns and the Blazers, right? Like I
Yeah.
didn't expect them to be as bad as they have been. The Suns just signed, just got all their guys here basically, like ready to play. They didn't really lose anybody, and
Right.
they're really struggling with this season so far. They're 3-3, and the Blazers, that's a team also where we expect big things out of them, out of Lillard and CJ McCollum, and they're not playing great. Dame is struggling. I think Dame's only at like 20 points or 18 points a game, and that's not good for him.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's not looking good for them. Biggest no duh, probably the Jazz.
Yeah.
I expected them to be as good as they were last year. I love You know how much I fell in love with Donovan Mitchell last season. I wasn't the biggest fan of him, but that series against the Clippers made me a believer in him.
Yeah. I mean, for me, like, what's crazy about this is like 1 through 8 seems like, with the exception of the T Wolves, 1 through 8 seems like realistic teams that can make it in at the end of the year.
Yeah.
Like I could easily see this being close to the rankings. So,
yeah,
man, I think for me, like you said, the no brainers, the Jazz, like they deserve to be where they're at. Last year they were a fucking good team, man. They lost deep in the playoffs, but shit, they could easily get over the hump this year. They still have all the tools. I mean,
Didn't
the
really
Warriors.
lose anybody.
Yeah, they didn't lose anybody. So, the Warriors, like I expected the Warriors to be a lot better this year, but seeing them in the 2 seed, that's pretty impressive to me. And Clay should be coming back in the full swing, and dude, they can easily. I mean, I don't want to like exaggerate, but yeah, I think they could finish like as 2 or 3 because Lakers look a little bit weaker, and if they stay healthy, I mean, who's going to stop them? Like, I think the Jazz will be more complete and win more games, but I mean, the Warriors would be right there, bro. So, the biggest like, I guess I want to start like getting into talking about the Rockets because like I think it's also not like the Rockets' record isn't exactly representing them, and like I just want to remind that to Rockets fans because I saw like I forgot someone from Houston Chronicle like. I feel like he kind of like gave a nudge to the Rockets about them like being shitty with the rest of the sports world, and I'm like, bro, like this is the toughest stretch of the season for the Rockets. Like if you guys watched the last show, like me and Alec talked about it, like we're literally playing good teams, and we're playing like 6 games on the road, so it's a shitty start, yes, but we're getting it out the way early, and I think I still have high hopes, not high hopes for the Rockets, but I think Rockets could be a top 10 West team. That's really what I think is possible.
Yeah. So let's look at like the last losses for us, man. So we played our last show. We're playing the Mavs, and we only lost by 10 points. What's his name? Eric Gordon had a great game, put up 22.
Yep.
Christian Wood with 17 rebounds. Like great game. We just we lost. We lost to a better team. And I think
right.
Rockets reporters need to understand like it's so funny like when reporters they report on these teams over and over again. But it just seems like every year when we get to the season, like did anyone expect us to get more than like 30 wins this year? Like, let's be honest. Like
Yeah,
We're Rockets podcast. Yes, we're fans, but we can be objective and know like this season is not meant to be a great season. This is a growing pain season. This is a season
for
where
sure.
we have to see the growth from these young guys that we have. Like even though I hate when he says it. Skip Bayless keeps calling this the G League. You know, he's trying to make LeBron look bad when these last couple games against the Rockets and the Lakers, he was calling us the G Leaguers, and I was kind of like, I'll take that. Like, people need to understand that we're not a great team right now, and we're not expected to win a lot. So how about instead of saying like, oh, it's we're being shitty, or we're just a growing team. We're a young team that has to get through these rough patches, and to me, losing to the Mavs by 10 points, that's a decent game, man. Like, yeah,
Yeah,
the Jazz 91 to 122. That was supposed to happen.
yeah,
Like, exactly what if the Jazz wouldn't have done that, it would have been a disappointment. A 10 point loss to the Lakers. Like, that's okay. In Staples. And then
yeah.
another game in
In
Staples, and we
Staples,
lose by 2 points,
right?
man. Like, we were controlling that game, and we did what young teams do.
Shooting for the win.
Yeah, and we did what young teams do. We committed turnovers. That's eventually gonna change. Like
Yeah,
those turnovers are eventually gonna come down, and we gotta stop thinking that we're gonna get 30 wins out of this team and making articles about how they're horrible. How about you talk about the good things that the Rockets did, like Jalen Green's awesome 3-pointers. Let me look at the stats. Let's talk about the fact that where is it?
yeah. While
That
you bring it up,
I was gonna say, like, let's talk
yeah.
about the
Go ahead.
fact that
Go ahead.
Christian Wood is averaging 20 points and 12 rebounds. He's averaging a double double right now, and no one's talking about it. Like, let's talk about that instead of like, oh, the Rockets are the worst. And yeah, we knew this, but let's talk about the great things that this team is doing, which is competing.
Exactly, bro. And not to mention, like, I think, I mean, we literally played Celtics, Mavs, Jazz, Lakers, and we got the Suns up next. Like, that's a brutal stretch. But the Lakers games are so meaningful for me because, first of all, you're going on the road to LA, okay? You take your 10-point loss, whatever. The Lakers had a lot of stuff built in them because they were getting criticized. They had to come out and make a
Mm-hmm.
statement, win easy one at home. So they won it, okay?
Yeah, that's a
That's
game that
fine.
wasn't close, right? It just felt like
It
out of
was
our
a
hands
close,
the whole time.
right. But then this shows already to me growth of a team is they come back, right? We're talking about a day or two later, you know, the team comes back, they get refocused, re-energized, and they even close the margin on that. They make it a lot closer. Jalen Green gets into another mode.
Clutch shots,
Christian
man.
Wood consistent on AD. You know what I'm saying? And like I feel great about that because they had composure. They made the game closer the second time around. They tried even harder the second time, even though you still haven't been home in at least a week now. And I just love the way they bounced back. I love the fact that they went for the win. They didn't want to leave anything on the court. There was nothing in their mindset where they wanted to leave a tie or they didn't want to be talking about it on the next road. It's a long road trip, and they're just getting started. You can't have regrets about it, and I think it was a good game in that regard.
And KPJ's shot, man, that's a great shot. Like that I thought that was going in when it left his hands. It
Yeah,
wasn't. He had a decent amount of space. I think that's a high percentage shot for KPJ. But it's just the moment, right? Like it's just that's when your legs get a little shaky and you gotta like pull. You gotta pull through. And that was just one where it was a perfect shot, man. I bet you more times than not that shot goes in. So he has no reason to be upset about that shot.
exactly.
If that shot would have clanked off the top off the front of the rim, they would have been like, maybe they should have went for like a better shot. But that was a great shot. Like you can't go back and think about how like that shot didn't go in. It happens. That's the sport.
Exactly, bro. And I mean, I just want to shout out to Seawood. Nothing lengthy, but last year, when Seawood was kind of hot, we played the Lakers. He was kind of eyeing that matchup with AD, and he didn't show up, man. Well, not as much as he'd hoped, and as Rockets fans hoped. And this year, bro, in those games, like to me, he was just so much more consistent. And I really enjoyed seeing him match up against AD because I don't expect C Wood to become like an AD, but if he can even just be competitive when he has those matchups against the ADs of the world, you got to feel great about that, man. So shout out to C Wood. Like to see balling out, bro.
Yeah,
And yeah, man, we got a tough schedule still ahead.
I actually have those stats. So the first game against the Lakers, he had 16 and
Nice.
13 rebounds. He had 16 points, 13 rebounds.
Yeah.
And then in the second game against them, he had 26 and 16. Like that's dominance, dude. Like that's some great work. And that'll actually take me to my MVP. I'm gonna say Christian Wood. Christian Wood was definitely my MVP for the week again. We talked about we wanted to see this consistently, and we're starting to see that consistently. 20 points, 10 rebounds type of game. Like he's to the point where he's averaging 20 points and 12 rebounds a game.
Yeah.
If he can keep this up at this level, he's going to be a all-star without a doubt. And then my best performance was I'll say it was Jalen Green against the Lakers, just because of the moment, because of what those shots meant. I know he had it was a bad second half, but I can't get over those 2 threes to get us as close as we were, to get us down to a 2-point game. Like that, those are clutch shots that you're not supposed to hit your rookie year, and I think that was him finally coming out and showing what he could do. And he's got some pretty decent averages. He's averaging 14 and 3 assists. So like that's pretty awesome, man.
Yeah, I love that.
We'll go ahead and get your MVP and your player, and then we'll look at the upcoming schedule.
Bro, I mean, like that. I'm in agreement with you. I mean, like it's got to be C Wood. For the Rockets to have any sort of consistency is just big, and like it makes an impact on the entire game. And then, yeah, bro, like if you guys didn't see Jalen Green in the second game of LA, just look up the highlights. Just spend like 10 minutes, look up the highlights. I mean, he played awesome, bro. He had some clutch shots. I mean, he even had some nasty dunks in there too, man. And I just like, you're talking about in Staples Center against LeBron and AD, and this guy's just like going up, no hesitation, no fear. Like, I can't emphasize how impressive that is, man. So yeah, he got my performance.
He wasn't intimidated, man. Like that.
Exactly.
It was like he didn't care that he was playing against LeBron. I think he went in there like he was playing against any other person, man. And that's what you want to see. It's easy to get starstruck when a lot of these kids grew up watching LeBron, right?
Right.
And it didn't look like he had any kind of like intimidation.
Yeah.
And let's go with MVP
for the upcoming week.
Let's go ahead and look at the upcoming week. I'm sorry.
Okay.
So we didn't. You mentioned the schedule, but you didn't mention. I mean, you mentioned our next opponent, but man, this week's schedule is tough. So
yeah.
Thursday we have the Suns in Arizona. I mean, in Phoenix. We have the Nuggets in Denver, and we have the Warriors in
San Francisco, I guess. No?
Yeah. We don't get a reprieve until that next week, next Wednesday against the Pistons here in Houston. Like, how bad is it gonna get? You tell me.
I think it's gonna get pretty rough, bro. And like, what's crazy about it is I think Golden State is gonna be the hardest game. Mm-hmm. Like, I think for Jalen and KPJ, like they're gonna come out there and I think Curry will bust their ass a little bit, and it's gonna get to that point where like they're strained, they're gonna be tired, they're gonna be frustrated. But bro, like it's so good for them, man. It's so freaking good for them that they're playing Golden State on the road after a 5-game road trip. Holy shit, bro! You can't beat those experiences. So yeah, man. I mean, looking over the next week, like I'm really depending on C Wood. Like you're gonna have a lot of good guard play in Phoenix, Denver, and Golden State. So I think C Wood has to be the MVP again, and I think you hope to get a win against Phoenix, man. Because Denver is a pretty complete. All these teams are very complete, but Phoenix is struggling a bit right now, so you can maybe hope to squeeze one out there. But don't be surprised if the Rockets come back and they're like 1-11. by then.
Yeah, this is a week that I would be okay if someone told me they're just not planning to watch any Rockets games.
Yeah.
Like I understand, and these might be some games where I might not even tune in if it's too far ahead. Like I might wait until I see that close game territory because it's gonna be rough. I might just catch the highlights. I have other important things to do, and just really
Yeah.
just get ready for that game against the Pistons, and let's see some Cade versus
Yeah.
Jalen Green.
You can bet we're
I
gonna bust their ass by the time we see them after that whole road trip.
I hope, man. So I think we can both say 0-3 this week. I'm pretty.
Yeah, I
comfortable
think so,
saying
man.
0-3.
I think so. I think we gotta be realistic.
Yeah, I'm hoping Phoenix is the one that I'm hoping like the guys are a little high off of that close game against the Lakers. Like man, let's take out a team. We want that upset win, and
Yeah.
I'm really hoping that the Suns is the one they can get, but I'm not gonna hold out too much hope.
Right.
So we're about to head out, but I want to go. So I've been like really into betting lately, and like I look at odds every day now, and NBA awards. I have some NBA awards odds that were just put out yesterday. As
Okay.
of yesterday, I'll give you the top 3 guys in each one, and you tell me your thoughts on them.
Okay.
For defensive player of the year, you have Rudy Gobert with the best odds, Anthony Davis and Giannis Antetokounmpo underneath him at third. What are your thoughts on this? On these 3 guys? Or
I
do you
mean,
have a surprise that maybe someone's been standing out and it's not on this, not on the list I give you?
Marcus Smart, psych. No,
Uh,
no way, Marcus Smart.
he's gonna defend his own team from winning.
Yeah, exactly. He wants to play defense on Tatum.
Yeah.
No, man. I mean, I think Gobert gets a lot of favor because he's on a really good team.
He's
He's
7 feet
kind of
tall.
yeah, he's a obvious it's obvious that he focuses on defense more. So I get why he's in the mix. AD, I don't think he should be in any defensive conversation, to be honest, until the Lakers improve their record. Um, yeah, bro. I think this could be like we talked about last year. Maybe you're looking at like a Miles Turner or like a Jared Allen or one of these like younger centers like really stepping up. So that I'm still kind of holding out hope for that. But I have to say like Gobert probably is leading that right now. As much as I don't want him to win, it's just his team's really good, and that's all he has to focus on.
Yeah, I'm still upset that Gobert won last year and they didn't give it to Ben Simmons. I really do feel like Ben Simmons deserved that award last year.
Yeah, it would have changed a lot for Ben, man.
I think
Fucking media,
Gobert.
man.
Yeah, I think Gobert gets a lot of love because he's 7 feet tall and that's all he does is play defense. He
Yeah,
doesn't have to worry about any other facet of the game. He can just go out there and just block shots. And I mean,
right.
it's well earned. He's always a constant threat in the paint. Like anytime you're playing against the Jazz and you have to go inside the paint, like you always have to have him in the back of your mind. So it's well earned. So I would be perfectly fine putting him there. Your Miles Turner one, not a bad call. He is actually 4th, right underneath Giannis
Okay.
Antetokounmpo and
Oh yeah, let's
odds.
go, Miles.
So and I like Miles Turner a lot too. All right, for NBA Sixth Man of the Year, top 3 we have Tyler Hero at number 1, Jordan
Ooh,
Clarkson at number 2, and Cam Reddish at number 3. Can I just say
nice.
how it like the fall is always so much bigger, man. Like Tyler Hero was just starting at shooting guard in the finals 2 years ago,
Right.
and now he is in talks to be the NBA Sixth Man of the Year. He's the favorite
Yeah.
right now. Not to say that's a bad place to be, but the future was a lot brighter back then for him. I think.
Yeah, you're
Um,
right about that.
he was being included in talks about James Harden, like, uh,
Yeah.
and now he's just kind of fading to what I think some people expected him to be, being there. Jordan Clarkson's not a surprise to me. He's
Right.
always there. He's there every year.
Yeah.
So he's probably going to be my favorite. But Cam Reddish is a welcome sight there. I like Cam Reddish a lot. I think that the talent they had there in Atlanta is great. And I would like for him to see him continue this run for Sixth Man of the Year. What do you think about this one? Like I said, I think Jordan
Yeah.
Clarkson's the guy that's going to win it, though.
Yeah, like I'm rooting for Cam Reddish now. Like, I mean, he played awesome in the playoffs, and like it's starting to become clear how obvious of a piece he is for Atlanta. Like, he's
Sucks he
essential,
went down
man.
when he went. Yeah, sucks when he went
Yeah,
down.
exactly, man. And they have they got the former six man there too, Lou Will. So like,
Mm-hmm.
that it's a great mentor for him. But yeah, at the end of the day, like Cam's who I'm rooting for. Um, on the note of Tyler Hero, yeah, bro, I think he was just a victim of too much hype. You know what I mean? And like, I think like you said, he probably is more leveled out now,
Mm-hmm.
and he is playing a lot better this year. But to be fair, he does have a true point guard around now, right? Like, like he has Lowry giving him the ball before. Um, you have Dragic, but it's a difference between Kyle Lowry and Dragic, like in terms of offense. And Lowry knows how to get these guys open. Lowry is a willing passer. He happily passed the ball to Kawhi every time when they played together in Toronto without hesitation. So yeah, I think it's going to be good for him. I think the future is still bright for Hero, but we can't expect him to be kind of like one of the best shooting guards. I
Mm-hmm.
think that might be a bit unrealistic. I think he's just a really good scorer, and he belongs in the conversation of elite scorer. But that's about it. So yeah, I'm rooting for Cam Reddish. I hope to see the Hawks bounce back a little bit and get back in that top four.
For sure, for sure. All right, for most improved player, we have Ja Morant at 1, Miles Bridges at 2, and Jordan Poole at 3. Um, I mean, this one seems fairly easy. It's Ja Morant. Ja Morant's been so good this year. Uh, to me, I'm gonna say this every time I'm on here. I had Ja over Zion, and I think that the Pelicans are starting to wish that they had went Ja instead of Zion because Zion can't get on the court, and Ja is absolutely balling on the court right now. So this is no surprise to me. Jordan Poole's cool to see, to see what we get from him. But I think to me, John Morant, because he's playing MVP level, and he wasn't an MVP last year. So that's a
Yeah,
huge improvement in my mind.
yeah. I mean, there's levels to it, right? And like if Ja's being put against those guys for most improved, I mean, shit. Let's just put his name on the trophy right now, man, because fucking Ja's averaging 28 points per game, third in the league, 5 rebounds, 7 assists. I mean, bro, those are all star numbers. Yeah, man, he does. It's hard to say what most improved player is sometimes, and
Mm-hmm.
people interpret that differently. But yeah, bro, this is Ja's award for it's up to him. Like if he loses it, he loses it. But he's clearly the favorite in my eyes, and I think he'll win.
Yeah, for sure. All right, I'm trying to find the last ones that we need. So I have the MVP odds right now.
All right, let's hear it.
The MVP odds we have Giannis Antetokounmpo, Steph Curry, and KD. I'm trying to see how recent these are as of today. Okay. Um, yeah, I don't know, man. I don't think I'm gonna put KD or Giannis there. I think I might have Steph there out of those three. Steph's been playing great. He's keeping the team where they're at right now. Without him, uh, without him, the Warriors are not as good as they are right now. And to think that he doesn't even have Clay with him yet, like I think that's only gonna make him even better whenever Clay gets back. So yeah, Steph to me is the MVP right now.
Yeah, when we first started, well, I think last week or the week before, we kind of talked about this, and I was leaning on the Giannis train because I was like, well, there's no one who can really stop him, and he's going to put up consistent numbers, and I think he will continue to put up consistent numbers. But I do want to give Steph his props, and I think he is the front runner right now because at the end of the day, bro, like you talked about, the media always kind of follows this narrative.
Mm-hmm.
Giannis has won it a couple times, and there's not too much that you can really see out of Giannis that will make the media want to give it to him again. I mean, the dude just won a championship. Unless the Bucks are kind of in first place, running away from the competition, I don't really see any reason why he would win it again. Now, the Warriors, on the other hand, if they're a top 3 team, we all know how good Steph Curry is, and I think he would be deserving of the award if they can finish in the top 3. So, to your credit, I also have to think that Steph is the front runner right now, and I'm
Mhm.
happy for him, man. Like I think he played his ass off last year, and he probably could have won it, but he did have he missed some games, and it was up and down season. So yeah, bro, it I could very much see Steph Curry if he stays healthy, just taking advantage of it and winning again.
Okay. So right now I have the odds. I have the updated odds for MVP. I'm sorry about that.
Okay,
The updated odds we have right now. Luca is the favorite to win MVP at the moment.
okay,
With Joel Embiid behind him, Kevin Durant in third, Giannis at fourth, and Steph at five. So Luca, I think Luca's the favorite every year. I feel like people are gonna keep saying him until he eventually wins it because it happens every year.
yeah,
NBA analysts
it's true.
always go for him. But he is starting to play better. Joel Embiid is kind of interesting for me, and I would like to see him maybe get an MVP. And considering where they're at, what's been going on with them, to see them still at fourth place is kind of surprising. So there's
Yeah,
that. And let's
yeah.
go with the last one, Rookie of the Year odds. At the moment, we have Cade Cunningham is the favorite, Jalen Green in second, Evan Mobley in third, Scotty Barnes at fourth, and Chris Duarte in fifth. Kind of he's a big underdog favorite, plus
Yeah.
3,500. So if you basically, for people that don't understand, if you put $100 down, you will win $3,500. That's what that plus is. If you don't know, because I just learned that last year. So that's something to keep in mind. So if you want to, go ahead and put that money down if you have that money to spend. But that's crazy to me. But it's cool to see that. But Cade Cunningham is not my favorite right now. I'd probably say Mobley. Mobley's been really good this year for the. He's been really good in the beginning of this year for the Cavs. I think he's going to get an expanded role. Granted, Cade hasn't played completely. Like he hasn't played really at
Right.
all. He's just barely returned. So
Two games, I think. Yeah.
yeah. So I mean, we'll see in the future. But I mean, I'm still not giving up on my man Jalen Green, obviously.
Yeah.
But it's really cool to see a guy like Chris Duarte, who really, I mean, has come out of nowhere and doing what he's doing. Cool to see that.
Yeah, man. I think yeah, bro. Cade. I mean, Cade doesn't belong in this conversation. If we're being fair, he's played 2 games and he's averaging 4 points. Yeah, there's a lot of season left, but I mean, as far as this conversation today, like he doesn't belong.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just being honest. I think Barnes in Toronto is looking great. I think he's definitely in contention, but are they going to give Barnes a trophy over Jalen Green and Mobley? Probably not. So yeah, man. Like I'm still, I'm riding with my guy Jalen Green. But Mobley is definitely pushing him. He's right there, and there still could be a dark horse that we don't anticipate yet. As some teams, as these rookies continue to get more minutes, as these teams start to make trades, and these rookies have expanded roles, so a lot can change. But yeah, I think right now, like it's a tighter race between Green and Mobley. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
Scotty Barnes kind of as a dark horse. But yeah, I don't think Cade should be the number one favorite right now.
Yeah, Evan Mobley is averaging at the moment 13, 7, and 2, which is points, rebounds, and assists.
Hmm.
So yeah, it's a really good start to the year. He's been impressive. And then let me look up Jalen Green's stats. He's
Yeah.
averaging 14, 3, and 3. So he's averaging one more point.
Okay.
But then, let's go back to Chris Duarte for the Indiana Pacers. He's averaging
Yeah, and
17, 4, and 2.
Duarte. Yeah.
Can he keep that up? We'll see. Um, I can also look up Cade's in his first 2 games. I know he hasn't had that many, but we can go ahead and give him a little look see. So far, he's only averaging He's only averaging 4 points, but like I said, he's only played 2 games.
Right.
I wish I could see. Can I see game by game? Per game? Yeah. No, hold on. Let me see. I wish I could see game by game, but I guess I can't right now. No, not where I'm at. I don't feel like going to look for it. But yeah, I mean, it's not great, but at the same time, it's not. He hasn't really played. And then for shits and giggles, let's look up Scotty Barnes. So Barnes is averaging 18, 8, and 2. That's some good. Those are some good numbers, man.
Yeah.
For someone that a lot of people didn't expect to be as good as he was. Yeah, he's doing great. Before we head out, let me go ahead and get to 2 comments from our man Edgar. He said, "Jaw's so good, dude. I agree. He's great. Definitely way better than Zion." And he says, "Skill over physically imposing." That's basically what it came down to, right? Everyone, when it was time to draft, when the draft was coming up with Zion and Ja, the talk was, Ja's crazy. He's got great skill, blah blah blah. But you're not going to see a guy like Zion. It just kept coming down to his size, his physical, his physicality.
He's a freak in nature.
Yeah, and you would tell them like, oh, well, he can't stay healthy. Well, yeah, but and then you're like, well, no, you didn't say anything. you didn't.
I didn't hear the rebuttal.
Yeah, there was no rebuttal. You just said, yeah, but he's look how big he is. But man, like he has not been able to stay healthy. And the thing is, I like Zion. I hope that he can stay healthy. But it's just his size for the amount of explosiveness that he has. Like his body's not meant to hold up for the type of player that he is, and that's unfortunate because like who doesn't want to see this guy like exploding for dunks from the damn free throw line, right? Like we wish we could get that. We saw that in Duke, but it's so much harder over the course of time to be able to stay healthy when you're that kind of a player. Which is not a bad thing, but your body can't handle it.
Yeah, well said, man.
All right, man. Well, let's go ahead and get out of here, man. I appreciate everyone that came into
the
stream. I know you're not supposed to say this, but I'm gonna say it. I don't care. Who cares? 7 people watched tonight. That's the most we've had tonight, which is awesome. I think it's the most we've ever had at all. So
we're honest here, man.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys tuning in for whether it was for a minute or whether it was for the entire time. In the chat, thank you, Robert. Thank you, Edgar. Those are both our friends. Like we haven't, so appreciate them showing support, showing some love. And let's go ahead and get the hell out of here. You can find me on Twitter at AlecMiller0423. I believe my Instagram is AlecMiller27. If you saw that earlier, that's my Instagram. I don't really post there, but you can go if you have an interesting story. I like reposting. I like responding to people's stories. So if you have an interesting story, I'll respond to you. But Twitter's where it's at. That's where I'm going to be talking sports during this upcoming week. And yeah, hit me up there. Let them know where they can find you, man.
Yeah, bro. I am on Instagram. I'm on Twitter. On Twitter at Podcast Paul. On Instagram at PO Trinidad. Yeah, very social person. You guys can get at me anytime if you just want to share your opinion. And I want to leave you guys with a tweet that I read this week that I thought was kind of cool, and it was from Kanye. And I'm not a huge Kanye fan, so let me just preface that as well. But he put a tweet and he put, "Halloween is the only day you're not in a costume," and I really like that tweet because it just made me think. Sometimes we don't step out and try things and challenge ourselves and be who we really want to be. So just want to share that knowledge with you guys. That's how I interpreted it. Just want to encourage everybody to go out there and be yourself. Thanks for watching.
Absolutely. Yeah, love to everybody. We appreciate y'all. I feel like we should mention this. I don't want to get into it. I probably should have did it in the beginning, but prayers and thoughts to the family. I wish I had the hold on, I can pull up her name.
This
guy.
Tina Tinder.
Tina Tinder, is that her? Yeah, Tina Tinder. If we mispronounced her name, we're sorry. Thoughts and prayers to her. She was a victim of a DUI. We had a friend who died because of drunk driving. Don't do it, guys. You ruin your life in a second, and there's so many ways to not drink and drive. I don't want to talk about Henry Ruggs. I don't feel like he should be the name in the headline. I feel like it should be Tina's. So yeah, thoughts and prayers to her. Don't drink and drive, guys. Call an Uber. Call a friend. Don't let your friends drink and drive, please. It takes a second. So it takes a second to not drink and drive. So, but it also takes a second, for bad things to happen. So please, just don't do that. Thank you, Alexis, coming in at the very end. Yes, and prayers as always. We'll see you guys next week. Peace out, guys.
Y'all be safe out there, man.